Dear guests, good evening and welcome to Global Taipei Dialogue 14, Smart Cities and Taiwan's International Space. My name is 𝙂𝙗𝙖𝙡 and I'm a research fellow at Taiwan Next Foundation, one of the organizers of tonight's program. It will be my great pleasure and honor to serve as your moderator tonight. In the beginning, we will welcome two opening addresses from representatives of our main organizing bodies, the Taiwan Computer Association and Taiwan Action Foundation. But before we begin, I would like to share a few words about the origin of Global Taipei Dialogue as a program. Global Taipei Dialogue is a flagship and public program of Taiwan Action Foundation. The main idea behind Global Taipei Dialogue is to create a platform for policy dialogue, which includes stakeholders from different groups in Taipei City and beyond, who might otherwise find it difficult to encounter one another and exchange ideas about various policy themes related to sustainable development of Taiwan. We are very happy to bring you this 14th edition of our program. During prior sessions, we explored a broad thematic variety of themes, ranging from multilingualism in the arts, in light of Taiwan's 2030 bilingual country plan, and other topics related to the climate crisis and Taiwan's soft power stemming from the nation's environmental governance, and topics related to social welfare of Taiwan's diverse populace, focusing on mental health and the social safety net. However, one of the most important sources of Taiwan's soft power is the nation's technological prowess. And one of the practical applications of Taiwan's technology are smart city solutions, which are implemented all around the country, from the capital Taipei to smaller municipalities such as Yunlin, which has implemented a very successful smart city solution for facilitating generational change brought about by the aging population. So I really hope that tonight we'll be able to engage in productive discussion about how cities, leaders of our increasingly internationalized and increasingly urbanized world, can help Taiwan expand its international space, despite the fact that Taiwan's international status is often described as a geopolitical absurdity. So, without further ado, I would like to welcome CEO 𝙂𝙗𝙖𝙡, who represents Taipei Computer Association tonight. Dr. Lee has a very robust experience working with different stakeholders in the field of technology. He received his doctorate in computer science from the National Tsinghua University, and since then he served as a professor. He has experience in academia and also practical experience interacting with the industry as a Secretary General of the Global Organization of Smart Cities, consultant for the Taipei Computer Association, and also currently the director of Smart Taipei office. So I, for one, look forward to learning not only from our ambitious lineup of speakers, but also from Dr. Lee. Dr. Lee, the floor is yours.
Okay, thank you, 𝙂𝙗. Good evening and maybe good morning in Europe, right? Everyone, and thank you for coming today. First of all, I'd like to thank to 𝙂𝙗, CEO of the Taiwan Next Generation Foundations, and of course 𝙂𝙗 to co-organize a very wonderful event. And thanks to all the speakers, Robert, Professor Zhao, and Angus, he will join us later. And I think on behalf of the TCA, and that includes three different departmental projects from TCA, include ICC, Go Smart, and Stop Tyrants. I want to express my deepest appreciation to you to join us today. Allow me to spend a few minutes to tell you about the TCA, especially for the ICC. I believe maybe lots of you already know about the Go Smart, which is the based on Taiwan's international smart city platform for the global cities, and also 𝙂𝙤𝙤𝙤𝙤, which is the biggest international startup hub in Taiwan, operated by the TCA. But actually, for the TCA-ICC, we just launched the department about 6 months ago. So for the TCA, we focus on 2 different directions. The first one is smart city, as I just mentioned. So we have a smart city expo. We're helping lots of cities to run the smart city project, and also we have a very nice platform for the 𝙂𝙡𝙤𝙤𝙤. And currently, we already have more than 200 members that include about 94 international cities. So, if you have any, we aim to promote the cooperation between different cities and stakeholders. And so, feel free to let us know if you have any further, comment, question, or request for cooperation. Feel free to contact us, especially can contact Anita. And also for the stops, TCA also have a very wonderful expo called Innovax. I believe that's the biggest one in Asia, and we have helped the Ministry of Economics to run the 𝙂𝙤𝙤𝙤𝙤. And in 𝙂𝙤𝙤𝙤𝙤, we have more than 200 stops. So feel free to let us know if you're interested in the cooperation between the stops. So that's a very brief introduction about the ICC. So if you have any further issue about smart city and stock cooperation, feel free to let us know. We are very willing to serve you. And thank you for coming again, and thank you for all the speakers again. And I believe that you will get a very, very fruitful event tonight. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Lee. I, for one, am consistently impressed by the depth and breadth of programming brought to us by the Taipei Computer Association. So if you have an opportunity to engage with them, either through your professional endeavors or your academic projects or just personal interests, they are a wonderful partner to have, and I'm also very grateful for an opportunity to have help coordinate tonight's program. Our next speaker tonight is Mr. 𝙂𝙤𝙤𝙤𝙤, who is the Chief Executive Officer of Taiwan Next Gen Foundation. It is wonderful to work with someone whose enthusiasm for internationalism is as palpable as it is in case of 𝙂𝙤𝙤𝙤. We have been working together for over 2 years, and 𝙂𝙤𝙤𝙤 could truly open a millinery with the number of hats that he had an opportunity to wear throughout his career, ranging from serving the different levels of public administration in Taiwan to even running a social enterprise in Africa. So 𝙂𝙤𝙤𝙤 embodies spirit of internationalism, and I'm sure that he will share some of his insights on the importance of cities, and especially smart cities, in Taiwan's quest to expand its footprint in the region and beyond. 𝙂𝙤𝙤𝙤, the floor is yours.
非常谢谢 Merchant 的介绍。那我是台湾赛智库的执行长𝙂𝙤。那很高兴今天有这么多对智慧城市有兴趣的朋友来到现场，还有在线上观看。那其实智慧城市，我认为是我们台湾能够跨向国际空间的一个非常好的方式。那它是没有主权的争议，并且能够把台湾最好的一面展现给世界。那我们台湾是一个科技岛，也是一个技术密集的一个社会。那当然在这样的状况之下，我们希望更多人知道台湾的存在，台湾的价值。因为只有存在的价值，而且并且能够提供我们的价值，这样才能够把我们的国际空间给拓展出去。那非常感谢今天所有参与的这个朋友们来到现场。因为这是一个全球台北论坛，是我们台湾赛智库每个月定期会举办的论坛。那我们希望是双语的方式，让 台湾的朋友们能够参与，让国外在台湾的朋友也能够参与，或者是让直接在国外的朋友也能够理解我们台湾的重要的一些政策也好，或者是我们的这一个出产的这种价值观。Dear CEO Lee, dear speakers, dear guests, allow me to extend a warm welcome to all of you, and thank you for joining my Taiwan Nation Foundation team, and thank you very much for the TCA, our partners as well. And welcome to Global Taipei Dialogue, Smart Cities in Taiwan's International Space. The geopolitical precarity of Taiwan, stemming from the continuous relationship between Taipei and Beijing, has affected the opportunities for Taiwanese cities' international engagements. For example, Taiwan's exclusion from UN framework precludes the nation's participant in the UN Department of Economic and Social Affairs and UN Habitat, whose frameworks are long-standing pillars of city diplomacy. Yet, Taiwanese cities remain active contributors to international city networks, whose work focuses on a broad array of topics including public health, ICT, smart solutions, climate crisis, as well as equity, diversity, inclusion, and well-being. Subnational diplomacy allows Taiwan to build stronger connections with overseas partners by ease the sovereignty constraint and yield major economic benefits. Moreover, while the pandemic has highlighted urban vulnerabilities through pandemic, it also brings an excellent opportunity to take transformative action towards establishing cities that are most just, resilient, and sustainable, that balance the use of technology with privacy protection and transparency. Positioned at the forefront of equitable post-COVID recovery, cities ought to recognize the importance of international connections and good practice exchange in achieving their policy and development goals. In Taiwan, city-to-city exchange have contributed a key pillar of internationalizing the Taiwan model, which serve as strong basis for the expansion of subnation ties. Nevertheless, there are challenges to harnessing the full potentials of subnation diplomacy in Taiwan. By capitalizing the momentum of the Taiwan model, to what extent can city-to-city cooperation help Taiwan strengthen ties with the international community and thus help decrease its isolation? To what extent are the lessons from Trans-Pacific city diplomacy applicable in our regions? How can city officials highlight the value of city diplomacy to reluctant city council members and denizens? Let's tackle these pressing questions together. Taiwan is internationally recognized as a technological hub and one of the most essential actors for the global semiconductor manufacturing industry. The highly urbanized island nation is also a leader of smart city technologies, which allow decision makers to utilize data purposefully and deliver a better quality of life in various areas, ranging from connectedness to public safety and from sustainability to public health. In the Smart City Index 2021, recently published by the IMD Business School, Taipei City ranked second in Asia and fourth globally. Before I conclude, I would like to express my gratitude to Ms. Elaine of Taiwan Action Foundation, Mr. Marcin Jaruski, and Anita from Taiwan Computer Association, and of course our CEO Neil of TCA. I hope tonight provides us all with plenty of food for thought. Thank you very much. Have a good one.
Thank you very much, 𝙂𝙡𝙤𝙤𝙤. Of course, one challenge in our increasingly urbanized world is maintaining the balance in how we allocate resources and how we support development in not only urban areas, but also rural areas. The urban-rural divide can be a prominent obstacle to sustainable development. At the same time, cities are natural incubators for solutions that benefit those who live outside of cities as well. Incubators of policies which foster inclusion, sustainability, and diversity. values which are at the very core of our operational mission at Taiwan Nation Foundation. So to learn more about how smart city solutions are practically implemented not only in the Taiwanese context but also in Europe, recently a very attractive region that continues to make headlines. Given a new opening in relations between Taiwan and especially the central eastern part of the continent, I would like to invite the first speaker of tonight. Mr. Robert Mrozowski is a communications expert at the Polish office in Taipei, focusing specifically on promoting Poland in Taiwan. His experience spans across corporate, crisis, and financial communications. He also has experience in video production and previously worked at public and investor relations consultancies. Robert, please, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Marcin. Hello, everyone, dear guests. It's my huge pleasure to be here today. I would like to welcome especially the organizers, the DCA in Next Generation Foundation, especially big thank you to Mr. Lee, Marcin, and Anita. Thank you very much for reaching out, inviting us, and all the arrangements. So today I would like to briefly walk you through some trends, what we are seeing in terms of trends when it comes to smart city applications in Poland. So if we could move to the next slide, please. Thank you. So just to give you a glimpse, to give you like the better understanding of that. So I would actually say that there is increasing interest in smart city idea as a whole and also smart applications in Poland. So this is, I would say that there is a shift in terms of thinking that this is not a marketing gimmick, but this is just that this is a really vital method, vital idea just to go ahead and to develop. So I would say that there is also like interest in okay. So there is a strong interest in smart solutions, also renewable energy, also the issue of waste management is also growing in importance. So I would like to also highlight that there is, for instance, Warsaw and Wrocław, they are already ranked among top 25 global cities of the future, according to the FDI intelligence of the Financial Times Group. Moreover, I would also like to draw your attention that the vast majority of the Polish medium-sized cities, they are looking to transform into smart cities by 2035. So in my view, there is a strong indication that there is a strong growth potential ahead in the coming years. I would also like to highlight that there are already some very promising improvements in the urban life provided by the Polish startups. So if we could move further to another slide, I would like to show you some real life examples. So here is the intelligent monitoring and analysis system in Katowice, in the city in the south of Poland. Some of you have already been there. So basically, roughly, this is a system comprising of roughly 300 cameras supported by artificial intelligence. So what I find particularly interesting in here, when it comes to its features, is that it basically allows to automatically detect suspicious incidents, such as a person lying down on the street, sudden movement, sudden gathering of a group, indicating that perhaps there is a fight or that someone is potentially at risk, or potential also attempt to steal a car. It can also detect fast driving vehicle in the city. So after detecting that, it reports to operator, and then for review, and then to make the decision whether or not to send a police unit there. So importantly, the system allowed to reduce the number of the stolen cars by 80%. So I dare say that this is like the immense improvement in just 3 or 4 years. So this is absolutely worth highlighting. So some of you, does ring a bell when it comes to those who've seen a movie report, Minority Report. So this kind of resembles that. Yeah, if we could please move to another example. So here's the 𝙂𝙤𝙤𝙤, Polish company producing smart city products and solutions. For instance, here we highlighted the two ones, but there are more. In here you can see solar benches with wireless chargers, free Wi-Fi network, and smog sensors, importantly. So it also produces electricity. It's very, I would say, practical. It also provides you data, urban data. So it's also important in terms of analytics. And to the right, you can see smart rubbish bins. So basically, the feature is here that it's monitoring the level of the garbage, and so it also allows you to optimize the waste collection routes. So it's also very practical for smart cities. Yeah, if we could please move further. The other example is Trigo. This is the Polish electric vehicle of tomorrow, I would say. Originally, it's designed for robotaxi and car sharing systems. It combines, as you can see, the advantages of a car and motorcycle. So it's ideally really perfect for traffic jams. Interestingly, it was recently, it's undertook commercial tests in Singapore. So who knows, perhaps one day it could also hit the roads in Taipei or across Taiwan. We'll see how it goes. But I would say it's also a very promising project. Yeah. If we could please go further. The other one, also very original and worth highlighting. This is the example of the cooperation between a local startup in Wrocław, Sat Revolution, and the city of Wrocław, which I already mentioned about at the very beginning of my presentation, that it's listed among the top global cities of the future by the FDI. So basically, the eventual aim here is that satellite images would help the city detect property tax evaders. So this is also a very interesting application. And when it comes to the applications, it can be much broader as well. So ranging from, for instance, providing assistance in disaster relief, for instance. So it's, I would say, also very promising technology and great example of the cooperation between the local startup and the city. And this is also very clearly, it very clearly shows that the sky is not the limit. Yeah, so if we could please go further. So in terms of the future, I would say that we will see actually the use of smart applications in Poland will just expand further to more complex issues. Also, I think especially managing electricity, waste management as well, predicting for events. So I do see us growing in this area, and I also very much hope that we could also find new ways of partnership between Polish and Taiwanese startups and hopefully cities as well. So thank you very much for having me here, the opportunity to share my thoughts with you. If you happen to have any questions, please do get in touch with us. Please drop us a line. We'll be happy to address any questions. I'll be also here around, so if you, just in case of any questions, please reach out. Thank you so much. 谢谢大家. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Robert, for sharing some success stories of applications of smart city solutions in Poland. I, for one, believe that the applications of satellite technologies are very interesting and also relevant to developmental priorities of Taiwan. Those of you who remember President Tsai Ing-wen's New Year's speech that she delivered this year will remember that she specifically emphasized that Taiwan should focus on applying its semiconductor prowess to building up smart city solutions. And she also talked about expanding Taiwan's place in the new age of space industry. And this was echoing her previous statements made in 2021 that also incorporated a push to pursue closer cooperation in the space industry and specifically on satellites with countries under the New Southbound policy. So perhaps seeing an interest in the utilization of satellite technologies for smart city applications in Europe, Taiwan's space industry could develop not only in the 18 target countries of the New Southbound policy, but also in Central Eastern European countries, which are increasingly emerging as reliable allies of Taiwan. So once again, thank you very much, Robert, for your remarks. And according to our schedule, we will now take a short break before the next two speeches. So we can take a break for the next 15 minutes and reassemble here at 7:40. We have prepared some small refreshments with vegetarian options available outside. So please feel free to enjoy. Try to maintain appropriate social distance, given that there is still a certain level of domestic transmission in Taiwan. But otherwise, I hope that you make meaningful connections during the break, and I will see you back here in 15 minutes. Thank you. And I hope that you had a productive break and made some new connections. There will be more time for networking after we wrap up the second portion of our program. But now it is my great honor and pleasure to welcome the second speaker of tonight, Mr. 𝙂𝙡𝙤𝙖𝙡, who is the Executive Director of the International Climate Development Institute, but also has many other roles, including serving as the General Secretary and Treasurer of the International Forum of Meteorological Societies, the CSO representative to the European Bank for Reconstruction and Development. He also is a certified trainer by the United Nations Office for Disaster Risk Reduction and the Deputy Director of the APEC Research Center for Typhoon and Society. So one of the reasons why we are talking about smart city solutions is to incorporate those technological innovations in enhancing climate resilience, a shared challenge across different contexts. So without further ado, Mr. 𝙂, the floor is yours. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you very much. Well, before I start, I would like to thank the organizer to invite me, and thanks for Dr. Lee and also Mr. Chen here. Okay, yeah, and also the colleagues from Polish office here. Thank you. So I fully agree that for our remarks, the speakers has mentioned that for smart city, actually it's one of the major approach we can extend Taiwan's international space. But the question is how? How? So for today, I would like to share some experience. That's the, hello? Okay, no problem. So, for the beginning, I would like to share that in the past few years, actually, as the MT mentioned that I've been to the international events and also the meetings. Yeah, thank you. For climate change and the sustainable development goals or any other like different conference, something like that. So for today, I would like to share with you our common city in the post-COVID COP26. Well, not COVID-19, but also COVID-19 actually. So here is the experience I have. And before, you probably noticed that before pandemic, I was like spend like half of my time for the year to different international meetings. But for the past 2 years, I work very closely with Taiwanese government and also especially local government. Yeah, so here is the position. I was the Deputy Director for APEC Typhoon Center. So I coordinate with 21 member economies for climate change and sustainable development issues. And also here is I participate the high-level political forum meeting in UN headquarters for SDG. And here is I was elected as the General Secretary of International Forum for Meteorological Societies. We have 60 country members. Okay. So in the past few years, we work also very closely with different stakeholders internationally. Yeah, INGO like Care International, or local governments, 𝙂𝙤𝙤𝙖𝙡, which is the biggest INGO organization for cities. They have 1,700 cities members around the world, and also CityNet, which is the city organization under UN. Yeah, and not only for the city. Sorry, we also work with some academic institute. For instance, Stanford University. We have the intern program. They send the students to ICDI, and we work closely to launch some research outcome. So, well, here is the figure that you may be very familiar. Here is the global GDP, and you can see up and down. But in 2020, there's a very rapid drop, and we all experienced that. So what's the reason for this rapid drop? COVID, right? So as I mentioned, now we're facing, there's a very big issue for climate change. We have COP26, but also in the meantime, we're also facing the pandemic. We say post-COVID-19, but actually it's not over yet. And if you see, this is the same year, 2020, for the global GDP. You can see for most of the country, they have the GDP growth in minus, in positive, in negative, sorry. And the only one in dark green here is Taiwan. And Taiwan ranked the top #1 in the world in 2020 because we had a very, very rapid response for the COVID. But in the meantime, as I mentioned, we're not facing the COVID alone individually. We're also facing different threats. And here is the new top 10 global risk launched by WEF just a few weeks ago. What's the #1? #1 is climate action failure. And for where is the disease? Oh, here, #6. Well, there's another figure that in the past 5 years, actually, all these different rankings, they have like up and down, but for climate actions, always rank top 5. Only in 2020, the disease, infection disease, come to the #1, but then it comes to #6 because we have the vaccine now. So in the past few years, the climate action value ranked #1 in WEF, and also the #2 is extreme weather. Extreme weather. And what's the #3? #3 is biodiversity loss, also due to the climate change. Okay. So in this regard, in the past few years, human beings take actions, and we spend a lot of effort to discuss what's the climate change issues to impact us, and what can we do some like efforts or climate action response to these threats or risks. So I participate the COP meeting, the UN COP meeting since 2009. So the newest one is the Glasgow in UK, and for the COP26, we have some new agreement that the first one is, I think I didn't say 2050 net zero because I think it's now become a major issue. I think more than 130 countries has announced the target for 2050. But before 2050, the newest target is 2030. So in this year, in COP27 in Egypt, it's coming very soon, in this coming November. We're going to discuss the 2030 target. What's the 2030 target? Before the Paris Agreement, a lot of countries, they set up their climate action goal for their carbon emission. But after 2015, we set up the Paris Agreement. And the Paris Agreement said that we need to cut down the carbon emission by the end of the century, which is the goal for 2 degrees Celsius. Okay, you remember that. So in the past, before 2015, we always talk about 2 degrees. But after that, some island countries say, no, 2 degrees is not enough. We need to take more actions to set up a new target because the humans are in risk. If you take action too slow, the environmental changes too fast, and the human beings or the economy can drop down very, very fast. So we set up the new target for 1.5 degrees, and they released a new report in 2018, released by IPCC, Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change, by UN. So the new target say we need to set up the goal for 1.5 degrees, and we put the end of this century for carbon emission target, 50 years ahead, come to 2050. Okay, so now every country in the world, we release a new target for 2050 net zero. But what does that mean? For instance, in Taiwan, we set up also, we have the NDC, National Determined Contribution for Paris Agreement. We set up the target originally was 2050, the carbon emission by 2005. And we cut half of the 2005 target in 2050. But now the new target become 2050 become net zero. So why do I need to expand this? The new target for 2030 is the original target 2005 cut down for 50%. Put that 20 years ahead from 2050 to 2030. Okay. So that means we need to put this target 20 years ahead. And if we want to achieve this target since this year, every year we need to cut down carbon emission for at least 3%. Okay. So actually that is a huge target for every country. So we're going to discuss that, how to achieve that. And also the COP26 also approved, we call the Paris Agreement Article 6, which influenced the global carbon trade market, because before that we have separate target or separate market in Europe, in California, in Korea, in Singapore. Yeah, every country can set up their own different carbon trading market, and they also have their own standard. For instance, we also have like global standard for Vera or gold standard or the other Panda or the others. But after the Article 6 approved, the global trading market need to integrate to avoid double counting. Therefore, the global trade market will be like integrate all standards together. No matter different country or different voluntary standards, we all need to integrate and discuss avoided double counting. So you have the carbon emission release or retire here, and we can avoid for another country to have the double counting. Okay. So for this part, we need a lot of very good trading system between the countries and also down to the countries to the business sectors. And to help for this carbon trading market or help the enterprise to encountering this global risk for climate actions. For this year, the major discussion is focused on the climate finance. Okay, so we use financial system, financial resources, or investment, green investment, to help the business sectors to achieve different like standards or indicators. Let the banking or insurance to help the new business sectors to calculate or release or disclosure their climate risk, and also for their like new investment transition. Okay, so in this regard, all the companies now in Taiwan, in UK, in New Zealand, in Japan, we have new regulation called TCFD, Task Force for Financial Related, Climate-Related Financial Disclosure. So all the companies, in the past, they need to release the CSR report, but now, after the new regulation TCFD, the CSR report is not voluntary anymore. They need to follow the new regulation and to release the report related to the climate risk regarding their business operation. Okay. So for the new investment, by 2025, we will double globally the funding for adaptation. Yeah, not only for mitigation, the carbon emission, but also for adaptation. What is adaptation? Adaptation means have this kind of environmental changes or extreme weather. How do you take action to avoid the risk or the impact of your own business? Okay. And the new investment trend will be in electronic vehicle and also hydrogen. Yeah. Okay. So we have. As I mentioned, I participate the COP meeting since 2009 in Copenhagen. So every year we have the meeting side event, and this year I have the side event to launch the Global Smart Solution Report for this year. Okay. So talking about the pandemic, talking about the risk, I would like to share with you one concept. We call it non-traditional security risk. Okay, if you think about that, what is the pandemic related to our business operation or climate change or the others? What's the common point for this different phenomena? We call it non-traditional security risk. Well, since 1990s, we have identified this kind of environmental changes. Actually, they impact the stable of your business operation. Because if you run the operation for a business, you can, if you have the stable environment, it's very easily for you to understand what's the income for the next month, or what you expect from the market, or for your customer behaviors. However, if you have very big uncertainty, we call it uncertainty for your market, or the policy changes, transitions, customer behaviors, it will create uncertainty for your revenue as well. Okay, so we call it non-traditional security. And this kind of environmental threats, for instance, climate change, flood, drought, or policy changes, or disease, they are all belongs to the non-traditional security. So you think about that. Okay. In the past 2 years, we have this kind of risk, not only pandemic, but also in the meantime, the climate change. We just encountering the biggest drought last year in Taiwan. But before that, actually, we have some serious heavy rainfall, 2 years ago in August. And this kind of risk is cross-border, it's globally, right? However, once hit, it's very difficult to recover. Why? Because for this kind of uncertainty issues, a lot of companies, they didn't take this kind of risk in their daily operation. So the major challenge is for SME, small and medium enterprises. For the big company, although they're encountering this kind of pandemic or environmental changes, however, they have different resources. They have better financial resources or insurance, different tools to facing this kind of challenges. But for SMEs, once hit, regarding these 2 points, once hit, it's very difficult to recover. You think about that, your neighborhood, they have some small chain stores or restaurant. And last year we just spent 3 months. Well, it's not long, but 3 months. The city block policy for Taiwan, and a lot of small restaurants, they don't have the real customer to come to the store, something like that. They become virtual or booking online or Foodpanda or the other systems. Once hit, the major challenge for SME is very difficult to recover. And also, this kind of risk, they have physical and transition risk. Physical means that we have the city block or the other quarantine policies. And also we have serious drought or flood or the others, this kind of physical and transition risk. And the most important part is not only think about the business sector itself, but also you need to think about, for this business sector, the most vulnerable point is on his supply chain. Okay, maybe for itself, it will be fine, for enough resources to spend this 2 months or 3 months. However, if the supply chain from different virtual or from his material flow, they cannot order some enough material or product from different partners. The supply chain once hit, and maybe for your own business sector, it should be fine. But if you cannot sell or you cannot order enough product from your supplier, it will become your vulnerable point for the whole business chain. Okay. So in the past few years, we worked very closely with UNDRR to develop using the Sendai framework to help different sectors in business sectors, city sectors, or the central government, different sectors together. Okay. And for today, I would like to share with you one of the sector, the key issue sector is the local government. And the approach we see local government, we're using SDG 13 to SDG 11. Why? Because in the past, a lot of people, they're talking about SDGs. They see SDGs individually. For instance, some NGOs, they focus on SDG 1, the vulnerable people or poverty, and some focus on SDG 2, the food security, agriculture, or the others. Okay. So everyone see SDG in their own needs, and also they see that individually. However, for ICGI, we see SDG with metrics. We're using SDG 13. Why SDG 13? Because we see SDG 13 is the biggest non-security issue for all development goals, because it's a very big change for the whole global scale. And we're using SDG 13 to see SDG 11. What's SDG 11? Cities. Okay. So when cities encountering this kind of climate change, environmental changes, what's the vulnerable for the cities, or what's opportunity for cities? Okay. So cities is the key for localizing the SDGs. And one of the major approaches we're using is smart city. So back to our main thing. Yeah, in the very beginning, I asked you, how do we using smart city approaches to explore the international space for Taiwan? In the past few years, we worked with different partners, for instance, GoSmart here, and also for this part is the Ministry of Economy. Yeah, we have bilateral meetings in the past few years, and this one is we have the bilateral meeting with Sweden and also Finland. So maybe next time we can have the bilateral meetings with Poland and also maybe Hungary. Yeah, for smart cities. Yeah, so I chairing these sessions. We're using, as you mentioned, as you can see, we visit the headquarters of this one is Ericsson, and this one is Nokia. We're using the smart and sustainable city approach, using 5G, using technology to solve the city problems, to provide the newest solutions. Actually, maybe it's not the newest solution. Maybe it's the most appropriate solution for facing these city problems. Okay, so we're using this technology, and the goal is to achieve smart and sustainable city. Yeah. So as I mentioned, the most appropriate, not the newest technology. Okay. Okay. And okay. Not only for the bilateral meeting, we also work with different international organizations. We invite global cities to submit their smart solutions. How do they define their city challenges? For instance, in some cities, their city challenges is air pollution, or in some cities, their city challenge is waste water, or maybe for health. So the cities identify their own problems, and how do they using IoT or big data or different smart solutions to solve the problem. For instance, a few years ago, actually Tainan City, they submit their solutions for encountering the dengue fever. If you have the memory, in 2016, well, dengue fever is one of the phenomena when we change this, the global warming status. Dengue fever actually is a tropical disease. So majorly in the southern part of Taiwan. However, because of the global warming, the temperature rising to the north in the past 100 years. So now the dengue fever become the whole island disease, not only for the tropical side, southern of Taiwan. It's very, very clear evidence of global warming. Anyway, the Tainan case is in 2016, they have a very serious dengue fever disease occurrence. They have 20,000 cases in that year. After they encountering this kind of risk, they're using IoT tools to identify the disease, patients, mosquito, and also different hot zones. And after they identify and they have very, very good approaches to stop the disease spread. So in the next year, in 2017, the disease cases down to 10, and the next year becomes 0. Okay, so it's very, very successful story for Tainan City using these smart tools. Okay, so in this regard, I welcome different international cities to submit their solutions to share. Not only for cities, down to the small unit for communities. We also have the program for community-based adaptation. Yeah, we have the stakeholder dialogue between the community and also help them to identify their own risk and dialogue with the experts. And the most important part is we using the participatory budgeting, let the people in the community to identify their own risk and find the resources to solve their own problem. It's very important to also use the smart tools to help them. Okay, so here is, we have the training program in the community. And it's very important also to use their own languages. Yeah, because it's a kind of public communication process. So using their own language is very important to let them understand and decide by themselves. So here is, I talked to the community people and using Taiwanese to speak about the climate change, yeah, for 2 hours. Yeah, maybe next time Dr. Lee can try also. Okay, so to conclude it, for this, the pandemic or climate change issues, or we encountering this kind of future challenges in our cities. The SME is a major body that we need to consider. And also cities will be the key arena for to implement or to take care. And we use e-government or ICT tools to help us. So the smart city would be approach, not the target. And the most important part, community, would be the best unit for this sustainable development and also recovery. Okay, thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Zhao, for this insightful presentation. I strongly believe that it is important for Taiwan to participate in the realization of Sustainable Development Goals, even though it is no easy feat for this archipelago nation, as it remains excluded from United Nations frameworks and the works of its organization, and also observer status. So only more kudos to the Taiwanese government and institutions at different levels that show consistent resolve in the pursuit of more sustainable solutions for a sustainable future. So now, last but not least, it is a pleasure to introduce the first speaker for tonight, Mr. 𝙂𝙡𝙤𝙗𝙖𝙡, who is the founder and CEO at O-Ring Industrial Networking Corporation, with over 20 years of experience in networking industry. He has been successfully driving the company towards modern era of smart cities and AIoT in recent years. Mr. Su, the floor is yours. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. Thanks for Taiwan Next-Gen Foundation and Smart and the Police Office to have this seminar and invite me to be the speaker for Smart City to share some Smart City solution and the reference project in Taiwan and Europe, especially in Poland. Actually, we have office in Germany and Poland, and we have few Polish employees. Actually, one of our European sales married with a Polish guy, and now live in Krakow, and have 2 children with a very happy life. So actually, for Smart City, I will introduce 3 most important solutions and reference. The first is energy management. The second one is smart lighting. And the third one is the transportation. I think these 3 solutions is very important for any city. So actually, the first one is to introduce energy management systems and the solutions. The definition of microgrid is a group of interconnected with loading and distribution energy resource with clear electric boundary, and including the power generation, transmission, and storage, and the loading. So you can see include the power generation like the renewable energy, and the transmission, the power transmission substation system, and the loading including the storage or the EV charger. And the one smart microgrid system will bring the many benefits. So the major benefit is actually can reduce the carbon emission, and also can provide a stable power system, and also can manage the energy well. So the O-Ring solution in the energy management system we call the Magic City. So we can manage the power from generation to substation, and like the smart lighting or smart EV charger, and also for renewable energy system. So our system is we can install in the Amazon cloud, and we have a Kubernetes infrastructure. It's very flexible, and we have a very user-friendly interface, and have a very high cybersecurity. So you can easy to manage all power system elements, the status, and the and also the history to compare the efficiency and the performance. And I want to introduce the most very interesting power system project in Taiwan in this from last year to this year. Actually, the Prime Minister 𝙤𝙤𝙤 is actually announced the biggest EMS project in Taiwan. Actually, you know that in Taiwan in summer it's very hot. So he wants to give all students have a comfortable learning environment. So he wants to install the actually 100,000 classrooms with the air condition. And each classroom with the 2 air condition. So actually it's a 200,000 air condition device in Taiwan. And the project will be finished by summer this year. So all students in Taiwan will have the air condition from this summer. But you can imagine the 200,000 air condition will start from this summer. So how much power consumption they will consuming, and how big impact for power system in Taiwan. So it's a very, very big impact, because you know in Taiwan we already continue to start nuclear power. So actually the power limitation is now become a big issue. Sometimes some area will start the power transmission to because the heavy loading for a whole power system. So actually, how can we install 200,000 air conditions without big impact for power system? So actually, so they require all school have to build up an energy management system to manage all air conditions. Actually, the major purpose to build up these EMS is to control the power consumption in the peak time in the summer. Actually, in the peak time, the power system has a very heavy loading. So if the power consumption is close to the limitation, the power utility company in Taiwan can issue the command to the school to ask them to increase the air condition temperature to reduce power consumption. Or even they can have the command to stop the air condition for the power system stability. So main purpose to build up this power system is to reduce the impact for a whole power system in Taiwan. Because the government pay all the money for air condition and the electric cost. So government have the right to increase the temperature or stop your air condition to save our power system. So it's a very interesting project and a very big, I think it's a good reference. And we also have the solution to provide the smart EV charger solutions. We have the license plate recognition solution and also the parking lot, so we can prevent some car to occupy the EV charger for solution and also the parking lot, so we can prevent some car to occupy. So we have the open also the gateway to management for EMS, including the EV chargers. So for next part about the smart lighting, I will introduce many specific projects, especially in Poland. Our specific project in Poland. So I invite our business development in Poland right now. He's in Krakow. Oh, sorry, sir. He's in Ďędec. So she will be the next speaker to introduce our specific project in Poland.
Yes, hello, I'm here. Yes, I will share my screen first, okay? Okay. No, not yet. The picture is a little bit blurry, so Okay, now I will turn on my camera as well. Hello, everybody. Dzień dobry wszystkim, witam wszystkich bardzo serdecznie. Jacek Kondratowicz. Cieszę się bardzo, że mogę przemówić po polsku na tej konferencji i chcę zaprezentować rozwiązania Oringa, które są już z sukcesem używane w Polsce. So that was a quick introduction in Poland, so welcome everybody. Can I share my screen first to show my slides? Yes, I will share my entire screen. Just please tell me if you can see the presentation and I will start. So, can you see the presentation already? Perfect, okay. So, as mentioned at the beginning, my name is Jacek Kondratowicz. I am based in Poland, in Gdańsk city, and basically I'm responsible for Orange Europe Business Development Management. And my presentation, after our CEO Angus, will be focused on two solutions for smart cities that we can offer, which is related to, first of all, intelligent lighting systems, and the second part will be dedicated to public transport solutions. So I will start from intelligent lighting systems first. So basically we can see a very good trend in Europe in general to modernize old streetlight systems in cities. Such kind of systems usually use old, obsolete, for example, sodium lamps, which are not very energy efficient and light efficient. So that kind of lamps are now modernized, replaced by modern LED luminaires, which have better energy efficiency and can cover the area better with the light. And when municipality or city is working on such project of streetlight modernization, they can already consider to use a smart intelligent solution on the top of such kind of project. And basically, smart streetlight system consists of a smart streetlight controller, which is usually located on the top of the luminaire, and a software which is allowing to control the brightness level of the luminaire and collect data from the system. Such kind of system is usually based in a cloud platform, in a cloud server. And Orange can provide both solutions, so hardware and software for intelligent smart lighting system. We call our solution Magicity. Such kind of software provides possibility of remote control of the lights, automatic scheduling management for brightness control, data collection from the system, generating reports about energy consumption, generating alarms if there is any abnormal behavior in the system. And basically, that's a total solution from Orange. Of course, there can be plenty of different communication technologies used to communicate between the streetlight and the cloud platform. There can be licensed band or unlicensed band communication. From our experience and our expertise knowledge, we always recommend to focus on cellular-based licensed band narrowband IoT, because we believe this is the most reliable, most easy to scale, most easy to deploy solution currently available for this market. And besides the regular smart street lighting system, we have enhanced solution in our offer, which you can see on the right side of the screen. This is basically a smart pole, which besides the light control provides also additional features like environmental monitoring, information display, or surveillance. So for the hardware solutions or the devices which are actually used in smart lighting system, we have different form factors. So depending on the luminaire type used in the project or LED driver used in the project, we can offer NIMA or ZAGA type standard controllers. This is a type of controller which is basically located on the special socket on the luminaire, or we have a box type solution which can be installed inside the pole. All of these products can support this licensed band, narrowband IoT or Cat-M1 technology for communication. We have different types of dimming, so to control the brightness like analog 0 to 10 volts dimming or DALI protocol. But in our latest product, which is ZAGA, we also developed the DALI 2 protocol, which is the most enhanced way of communication between the controller and the LED driver in the system. Of course, besides these basic features like communication with the cloud, we also have electrical parameters monitoring. We have additional sensors like light sensor, accelerometer, temperature sensor, or even GPS for having location of each specific pole in the city. And for the more enhanced, sophisticated solution that we currently developed and added to our portfolio, that's a 5G smart pole. So besides the smart lighting control of the brightness, we can enhance the solution with added value like solar energy power, like IP camera for video surveillance, for monitoring the citizens in the city. We can add network capabilities like Wi-Fi hotspot for citizens. There can be additional information display, for example, for advertisement or tourist information. Added value as an emergency call. In case of emergency, the citizen can simply push the button to contact with for help. There can be charging station for EV charging, or even a water level detector to detect floods, all in one smart pole located in the city. And for our experience in this market, currently you can see in the screen right now that we have global projects and installations in the pipeline with over 230,000 of lights. Of course, most significant projects are based in Taiwan, where our headquarters is located. However, I'm driving really important opportunities in Europe as well, and we are targeting Europe region as a very good potential for the future. And one case I would like to share, especially related to Poland and our business that we do in this country. So we have a smart streetlight project in cooperation with Orange Polska. Orange is basically French telecom operator with headquarters in Paris, but also French offices located all over Europe. So this is one of the key telecom operators in Europe in general. For this telecom operator, we deliver both NIMA 2 and Saga LTM smart lighting controllers in several lighting projects in Poland. So the solution is already installed in few cities. And one of these cities is our current project in Ďędrzejsko-Kamienna city, which I would like to introduce some details about. This project consists of modernization of 4,739 streetlights. And the total value of the project is 7 million Polish zloty, which is co-financed by European Union program in 85%. And according to calculation, the savings in electricity consumption in the city are estimated at 2,200 megawatt hours per year. And there is also annual decrease of CO2 emission equivalent of 1,800 tons. So this is a representation of approximately 71% of savings in comparison to the old system. In this smart system, we provided a light control, of course, but not only automatic scheduling light with predefined schedule and autonomous operation. We also have a light sensor for detecting a sunrise and sunset, for example, or also implemented astronomical clock inside our software, which helps to calculate exact moment of sunrise and sunset at a specific location, at a specific date. The cloud platform is actually provided by Orange as well as the communication. So we have the user interface and dashboard based on Orange Live Objects platform. And we have alarms, dynamic alarms if there is any abnormal status, for example, power fade or LED issue, or maybe some strong wind or car accident can cause to there is a tilt or roll of the fixture or pole, which we can detect and notify the service team. Another hot news is that our product, which is Saga controller, together with Orange Live Objects platform, was nominated to take part in a competition for 29th International Fair of Lighting Equipment Light, 𝙂𝙡 in Polish. And we actually won the first place in our category for the best product. And this award will be given to us next week during the opening ceremony of the exhibition. So if you have any chance, welcome to visit the exhibition between 26th and 28th of January in Warsaw to see our product and solution. Another country that we are present in is definitely Hungary. There is a lot of activity related to smart streetlight projects there. In this specific country, we cooperate with our key partner, which is Transgram. Transgram is a local, well-known LED lighting manufacturer, so providing LED fixtures for streetlight installations. And besides that, we also have established research cooperation with 𝙂𝙡𝙤𝙤 University from Budapest, where we donated equipment and software for IoT laboratory at the university. So basically, together with university, we developed a special program and course, IoT Smart City course, where the students can touch with the smart city technology, and thanks to this, maybe use their talents to improve or develop new features and solutions in the future. And besides this research cooperation, we also have partnership with Transgram and 𝙂𝙡𝙤 to build up a complete smart light system solution for Hungary. We already done pilot installation in Center for Energy Research Campus, which includes LED luminaires and narrowband IoT, NIMA smart light controllers, and Magic City Cloud platform, together with T-Systems cellular network. Now I would like to move to the second part, which is transportation in smart city. I will not focus on our solutions, but I would like to give you some idea about the projects we have done in the past, so you could be aware where our products are located. So one of our key significant projects from the past was done in Belgium for sure, where we cooperated with 𝙭, which is a public transport company. A branch of 𝙭called Lincom is responsible for marketing and communication with passengers, and they deployed a project of free internet access on 𝙭's vehicles, where basically we delivered several hundreds of our routers and Wi-Fi access points to provide Wi-Fi communication for hotspot and internet access for passengers of trams and buses. Of course, all of these products support 4G LTE technology and EN 5155 certification for railway to be installed on board vehicles. Last year, we also joined IT4PT Association from France, which is like an association to standardize public transportation solutions. That's why our goal is to be better aligned to future needs in European public transportation market. And thanks to this, we can develop solutions which will be compatible with onboard projects, onboard systems projects and standards. Another project that we have done in Europe is Slovakian railway company. So railway operator wanted to upgrade existing trains and build a new passenger information systems in the trains, in the vehicles, basically to improve the travel experience. So the challenge in this project was to provide high speed and large bandwidth because currently the customers of trains, the passengers are using a lot of streaming, so to listen to the music, to watch videos. So we provided sufficient bandwidth, sufficient devices which could help to meet this requirement. These were also routers, access points, and switches located on board the train with proper certification. And last but not least, project from Europe is definitely the London Underground, where the company in London wanted to increase the security, the safety for passengers, and wanted to refurbish their 4 trains in the underground. So the CCTV, surveillance system provider, have chosen O-rings, the internet switches, to build the in-vehicle communication network. So our switches basically help to link the IP cameras and video recorders, which are located on board the train, at the same time enhancing the security of the train itself, but also the passengers. So why it's worth to consider O-ring as a suitable partner for smart cities and IoT applications? Because of features like reliability. We have very good experience in this market, over 15 years, with many successful stories already in Europe. We are innovative company, so we always try to introduce cutting-edge technologies to the market, and we provide in-demand functions. And there is resilience and assistance. So our goal is always to expand our solutions and meet the project needs, even with special customization or on customer demand. Thank you so much for your time to listen to my presentation.
Thank you. Yes. So you can see the Taiwan and the Poland already have very good connection, including people, technology, and we also have some education project with the university in Hungary. Actually, the economy agency in Hungary helped O-ring a lot to actually introduce customers and also find a factory to manufacture O-ring product in Europe, in Hungary. So actually, I think that it's a very good for both countries and Taiwan and the Europe relationship. So hopefully we can have the further cooperation with Poland and the European countries, and also the all attendants. Thank you very much.
We sincerely thank CEO Shi and also our partners from Poland for delivering this very holistic presentations on how smart city solutions can be applied throughout different contexts. We still have about 15 to 20 minutes left tonight, so I am very happy to move on to the third portion of tonight's program, which is a Q&A session. I prepared some questions for our three panelists, but before I dig into the questions that I brought with me, I would like to see if there are any questions in the audience that we might want to begin with. And we will invite our three panelists to sit up front so that we can carry out the Q&A session in a smoother manner. Once again, any questions from the audience? Yes.
So I see a lot of technology development, but I want to know more about how this technology could, based on good citizen communication and also social design. How about you involving the inclusion of the people who mostly in need of the smart city, but they are not probably not in a good position to speak out for their need. So how you organize social communication in the stakeholder?
Would anybody like to begin?
Thank you very much for your question. I take the community-based adaptation as an example. I think for smart technology, we see a lot of very good application, but the key feature is to identify what's the problem you would like to solve first. So after you identify the question, identify what's the problem you would like to solve, and then invite the stakeholders to have dialogue. But it's not just dialogue. Sometimes you need to provide some capacity building program for them, because if they have enough knowledge or awareness or some basis, before the dialogue, they can have better or efficiency dialogue in the process. So after they have this kind of dialogue together, and they can identify what's the solution they would like to make together, and the technology would be the assistance or tools for them. Yeah, I think that would be better, just after the process, not just provide the newest technology beforehand. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, thank you for your question as well. So my comment on that would be just like, no matter how good your technology is, just the gist of that is what's the reason for the use. So therefore it's essential to reach out to the local communities so they would have their say. So I'm a strong proponent of such civic initiatives like participatory budgeting, for instance, just so the local communities, so the residents, they do perfectly know what their needs are, and this is very essential to reach out. So in my view, I'm a strong proponent of such initiatives, and I do hope to see more civic-oriented initiatives in the years ahead. Thank you.
Okay, I think the old technology for a smart city is come from the human requirement. So it's a compound social society. Thank you.
Thank you. So before I take more questions from the audience, I would like to briefly interject with a question of my own, especially in light of your answers. The urban commons can be conceptualized as a resilient space for democracy, and you kind of touched upon initiatives like participatory budgeting. To what extent, in your opinion, can applications of smart city solutions facilitate the promotion of participatory democracy in response to their local social, political, and economic conditions? And whoever wants to take it first.
Okay. As I mentioned, the technology is not the goal or target. Okay, the technology is to help us to solve the problem. So not only for the efficiency, for instance, as I mentioned, the smart technology can improve the energy efficiency or solve the problem for transportation congestion or any others. However, 1/3 of the smart city programs around the world, actually, they provide the interface or improve the dialogue or information transmission between citizens and the governments or the other stakeholders. So participatory budgeting is one of that. 𝑖Voting is one of that. A lot of different smart city programs are among this kind of function. Okay, so it's very important that we using this smart technology or smart city programs improve the information disclosure, but also to improve the citizen participation among this kind of process. And also for the community-based adaptation, it's not only talking about the climate change itself. After this process, actually the citizen, they have awareness, for raising in this kind of issues or knowledge. They think the community or the climate change is their own problem, their own responsibility. So that's raising the citizens' awareness. It's very important. So they will not just, waiting for the government to take action for them. They will take action by their own. So I think that would be very, very good process. Okay.
Any comments from Mr. Schultz? Okay. Okay, let me see if there are any outstanding questions in the audience. Yes, please.
Okay, first of all, I'd like to thank you for the very excellent, wonderful presentations for both of the speakers. And my question is specific to Robert. In your presentation, we saw lots of very fantastic solutions. And probably the Polish stakeholder can work with the Taiwanese stakeholder, and even in Taiwan, work with the Taiwanese government, such as the satellite solutions. And my question is there any suggestion from your side, from your personal point of view, that for the Taiwanese stakeholders, Taiwanese vendors, who might have some market, especially for the small city market opportunity to work with maybe not only for the Polish vendor, stakeholder, maybe you can work with the Europe stakeholders. Do you think that's any domain that you want to point out? For example, maybe small mobilities. I'm not sure. I just want to ask your opinion. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Lee, for your remarks as well. In my view, I would strongly encourage all the startups and also cities as well to reach out to us directly. We would be happy to address any sort of questions, any questions whatsoever. We would be also very eager to help you to bridge with the Polish counterparts, no matter whether this would be companies, self-governments. We'll be very eager to help out. I think the potential for mutual cooperation is vast. In my presentation, I just outlined a few examples which in my view are quite extraordinary. But I think that, as I also underlined in my presentation, I do believe that there is a growing importance of smart city idea and the solutions, and so there will be also a need to cooperate, and Taiwan itself and also the Taiwanese startups, they're very strongly recognized across the globe, also in Poland. They very much stand out with cutting-edge technologies. I would say that they are very bold, and so they are also very attractive to us as partners. So I do see strong global potential in a number of fields, ranging from electromobility, for instance, or lighting systems as well. So a really big number of applications, especially based on also AI. I would say there's a huge number of potential cooperation between the two sides. I also do look forward to see more of the cooperation between the cities. For instance, Warsaw and Taipei, they are sister cities. So we'll see, perhaps we'll see more really positive developments in the years ahead. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you. Would you like to ask me anything else about that? Or? Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Robert, for bringing some a healthy dose of enthusiasm about potential future opportunities for collaboration. We're slowly reaching the end of today's event. Time flies when you're having fun. But I just want to make sure that we take any of the outstanding questions from the audience. Yes, please.
Yeah. Hello. Thanks, all our speakers for coming here tonight, and thanks for your sharing. So I have some curiosity that, for example, for Angus, that I know Orin is a very outstanding company, and you have a lot of market share in Europe, and I know you must have a lot of competitors in Europe, especially for those local companies. And how did you persuade them that Taiwanese company like Orin is better than them, and why don't they choose their local partner instead they choose you? And since we are talking about the international space that Taiwan can have, so can you tell us that what's the advantage that you're making internationally? So that's something we're interested in.
Thank you very much. So actually, Orin is still working very hard to be an outstanding company. Actually, the first things we invite the European company invest our company. So our one major shareholder is from Germany. It's a 𝙂𝙗𝙤𝙗𝙦 Group. So it's like Orin become like a European blood company. And the second one, we have the office in Germany and Poland. So we hire the local employee. So we use the local employee to talk business with European customers. And I think the third one is actually, I think the Taiwanese government also help Orin a lot. Especially I mentioned in Hungary, the economy agency bring us to meet good customers, good partnerships, good partners. So it can help us to enter the market quickly and with good image, because we introduced by economy office of Taiwan. So we hope we also can cooperate with Polish office in Poland. Yeah. So I just share some our experience. So thank you very much.
Thank you. And I still have another question, if I may. Sure. Okay, another question is to Mr. Qiao, the CEO from ICDI. So I know you just came back from COP26, and I'm just curious that since you heard a lot of observation and insight from those European cities and international experts, and what do you think that Taiwan can, especially industry, can do to adapt to the policies that they make after COP26? Yes.
Thank you very much for the question. Actually, it's very important. Well, since COP26, actually a lot of business sectors asked me about this questions, and also I think, well, considering the major theme for today, for explore the Taiwanese international space, I think, well, it's also a challenge not only for Taiwanese business, but also for the others, actually. So considering this kind of international space, the first one is, if we have the challenges we're facing, all the other cities, all the other business sectors, they are also facing. So we can have the partnership with them to find the solutions together, to facing this kind of common challenges together. Okay, so this is first one. And also the second one is, we have our advantage. They have their advantage. So we can find, you know, our both advantages and also create the interest together, the benefits together. Okay, so we don't need to become the competitors. In facing the challenges, we have our own advantage, and if we can have partners with maybe, you know, sometimes they say, okay, in some competitors, it become the red sea, not blue sea, something like that. But we can 1 + 1 become maybe bigger than 2, something like that. So I think for this kind of attitude, for Taiwanese sectors, it's very important that we're using our advantage. We have ICT advantage, we have smart solutions advantage, we have innovation advantage. We can find in the global market to find our own niche. And with this niche, with the other partners, we can share the experience and also find the common benefits together. So facing these you know, challenges, and then identify the solutions very detailedly. Yeah, a very good solution from Orin. I think they find their own niche in European market. I think it's one of the very good cases we can apply to the other business sectors. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Unfortunately, we are already out of time. But I want to, first and foremost, thank our audience for engaging so actively with our panelists, both during their presentations and also during the Q&A, and of course to the 3 of you for joining us tonight.